Good evening. Tonight, we witness a turning point in the ongoing struggle for control and security in the West Philippine Sea, a region whose calm surface belies the tension simmering beneath. Just days ago, a historic event unfolded in these contested waters, capturing the attention of the world and sending ripples through the corridors of power in Asia and beyond. On December 6th, warships from the United States, Japan, and the Philippines sailed together in a powerful display of unity and resolve, their hulls cutting through the waves as one. This was no routine exercise, it was a carefully coordinated maritime patrol, a deliberate show of force and solidarity, sending a clear and unmistakable message to Beijing and the world. The world is watching closely as these allies push back against China's increasing aggression in these vital waters, where the stakes are nothing less than the future of international order in the region. The USS John Finn, JS Akizuki, and BRP Antonio Luna sailed side by side, their national flags fluttering proudly under the tropical sun, a symbol of shared commitment and mutual defense. This was more than a photo op. It was a deliberate maneuver through some of the world's most hotly contested waters, where every nautical mile is a statement of intent. Every sailor on those decks understood the stakes. They were not just defending their own nations, but upholding international law, protecting freedom of navigation, and standing up for the sovereignty of all who rely on these seas. Years of escalating incidents, harassment of Filipino fishermen, blocked supply missions, and aggressive Chinese patrols have brought us to this moment. Each confrontation has tested the patience and resolve of the region. The international community's calls for restraint and dialogue have, so far, proven insufficient to halt the rising tide of confrontation and intimidation. Now Washington, Tokyo, and Manila are united in a new strategy, one of active deterrence, where words are backed by action and presence on the water. The message is clear. Freedom of navigation is non-negotiable, and the sovereign rights of nations, big or small, will be upheld and defended. The immediate trigger for this show of unity: China's recent use of water cannons and dangerous maneuvers against Philippine ships, actions that have raised the risk of open conflict. For the Philippines, this is about survival, dignity, and national pride. For the United States and Japan, it's about maintaining a stable, stable rules-based order, and ensuring that might does not make right in the Indo-Pacific. The joint patrol is a direct and measured response to these provocations, a signal that the world's democracies will not be bullied or divided. It's a powerful reminder that alliances matter, and that friends, old and new, stand together on the front lines of freedom and security. Tonight a line has been drawn in the water. What happens next will shape the future of the region, and perhaps the world, for years to come. The West Philippine Sea is a critical artery for global trade and a region rich in resources. Over a third of global shipping passes through these waters, making their security a global concern. The sea holds vast reserves of oil, gas, and supports rich fishing grounds, lifelines for millions in Southeast Asia. China's sweeping claims, enforced by militarized artificial islands, threaten these livelihoods and the region's stability. The stakes are high. For the Philippines, it's sovereignty and survival. For the world, it's the principle of freedom of navigation. If one nation can rewrite maritime boundaries, the precedent endangers global order. The West Philippine Sea is now a flashpoint for the 21st century. The world cannot afford to look away. The Allied warships sailed in tight formation, a powerful symbol of solidarity and shared resolve. Their synchronized movement across the open sea sent a clear message. These nations stood together, united in purpose and strength. The USS John Finn, JS Akizuki, and BRP Antonio Luna represented not only the technological and strategic might of their nations, but also the deepening bonds between the United States, Japan, and the Philippines. Each vessel, equipped with state-of-the-art weaponry and advanced defense systems, showcased the latest in naval innovation and cooperation. As the Allied ships patrolled near the contested Scarborough and Second Thomas Shoals, Chinese Coast Guard and militia vessels appeared on the horizon, shadowing the patrol with calculated precision. The presence of so many ships in close proximity heightened the tension, making every maneuver critical. Tensions ran high as Chinese ships issued stern warnings over the radio, demanding the Allies leave what they claimed as Chinese waters. The air crackled with the intensity of the standoff, every word and gesture carrying weight. Yet the Allied commanders stood firm, calmly asserting their right to operate in international waters and within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Their unwavering stance reflected both legal confidence and a commitment to upholding international norms. No shots were fired, but the message was unmistakable. The Allies would not be intimidated or forced to retreat. The sailors, resolute and focused, continued their patrol, embodying the spirit of determination. This unity was the mission's core, demonstrating that gray zone tactics and coercion would no longer go unanswered. The handshake and salutes exchanged between officers symbolized a new era of cooperation and mutual defense. By bringing warships into the equation, the Allies raised the stakes for any future aggression, making it clear that any hostile act would be met with a coordinated response. Their readiness was evident, but restraint prevailed. An attack on a Philippine vessel could now draw on the US and Japan, transforming a local dispute into a broader conflict. The sight of alliance flags flying together sent a powerful signal to friend and foe alike. The lines of engagement have shifted, redrawn by the presence of Allied power and the willingness to defend shared interests. Every plotted course now carries new significance. The era of uncontested intimidation is over. The balance of power at sea has changed, and the resolve of the Allies is now unmistakable. The world has taken notice. News of the patrols and the united front has spread globally, reminding all that the South China Sea is no longer a stage for unchecked aggression but a proving ground for international solidarity. Beyond the headlines and political statements, the conflict in these waters has a very real and often overlooked human cost. Every day, ordinary people face extraordinary challenges just to survive. For generations, Filipino fishermen have relied on these ancestral waters. These seas are not just a source of livelihood, they are the heart of their culture, their history, and their families' survival. But today, they face constant threats and harassment from Chinese Coast Guard ships. Many are forced to abandon the richest fishing grounds, losing not just income, but a way of life passed down through generations. As a result, incomes have plummeted, and families are pushed deeper into poverty. The daily catch is no longer enough, and many worry about how they will feed their children tomorrow. The Philippine Coast Guard, despite limited resources and constant danger, bravely escorts fishermen and delivers vital supplies to remote outposts. They endure harassment, intimidation, and even attacks, risking their own safety to protect their fellow countrymen. The December 6th Joint Patrol brought a renewed sense of hope, a powerful sign that the world is watching and that these communities are not alone in their struggle. For these coastal families, the presence of Allied ships is about more than politics or principles. It's about their right to work, to earn a living, and to put food on the table for their loved ones. Now, the international community is finally taking action, coming together to protect the way of life of these vulnerable communities and to defend their rights at sea. For every fisherman, every family, the struggle is deeply personal, and the stakes could not be higher. Their future depends on what happens next. In the end, the fight for the sea is not just about territory. It is a fight for survival, dignity, and hope for generations to come. December 6th was the result of years of rising tensions and failed diplomacy. The 2012 Scarborough Shoal standoff marked a turning point. China seized control, ignoring a US-brokered deal. Since then, China's gray zone tactics, using Coast Guard and militia to intimidate, have escalated. Water cannons, blockades, and harassment became routine, always just below the threshold of open conflict. Diplomatic protests and regional forums failed to yield results. China dismissed them and continued militarizing the sea. The Joint Patrol marks a shift from passive protest to active deterrence. If China won't honor international law, the Allies will create new facts on the water. The era of passive resistance is over. The patrol is a coordinated pushback, restoring balance in the region. The message "action, not words," will shape the future. At the heart of the dispute is a clash between China's historical claims and international law. The 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, grants coastal states exclusive rights to resources within 200 nautical miles. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled in favor of the Philippines, rejecting China's 9-dash line. The ruling was binding, but China rejected it outright and has ignored it ever since. This defiance challenges the value of international law itself. The Joint Patrol is, in part, an effort to enforce the 2016 ruling, not in court, but on the water. Presence and collective action are now the tools of enforcement. The world is watching to see if the law will prevail. China's response to the joint patrol was swift and defiant. Official statements condemned the patrol as provocative, while state media framed it as foreign interference. On the water, China matched the Allied presence with its own naval and air forces, raising the risk of escalation. Beijing's narrative: China is the victim, the US the aggressor, and the Philippines a pawn. This is a battle for global perception as much as for territory. China uses its economic and media power to challenge the rules-based order. Two visions for the Indo-Pacific are in conflict, one of law and alliances, the other of dominance by a single power. The contest is far from over. The world must decide which vision will shape the future. The December 6 patrol marks a new era of deterrence in the West Philippine Sea. For years, diplomacy and legal challenges failed to change China's behavior. The US, Japan, and the Philippines now signal a strategic pivot. Credible deterrence requires visible, collective presence. Japan's participation in particular marks a profound shift in its security policy. This trilateral partnership complicates Beijing's calculations and counters China's incremental salami-slicing tactics. The Allies now assert their rights through action, not just words. The patrol offers a model for other Southeast Asian nations facing similar pressure. To Beijing, it signals that aggression will come with higher costs. An attack on the Philippines is now an act against the alliance. The stakes have been raised to preserve peace. The world is watching this new era unfold. The joint patrol is just the beginning of a sustained effort. More frequent and complex joint activities are planned, making Allied presence routine in the region. The Allies aim to expand cooperation, integrating other nations into a broad coalition for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Security cooperation is matched by economic and diplomatic support, helping the Philippines build resilience. The contest is between a world governed by law and one ruled by might. The united front of the US, Japan, and the Philippines is a stand for the former. Their continued cooperation will shape the region's future. The world is watching.